And then I apply this to their social interaction. I use the concepts of territory, hierarchy, and threat display escalation. So I ask them to imagine an island, and then we sprinkle a bunch of animals out on the island, and the animals will divide up into groups. The animals in the forest, the animals on the mountain, the animals in the valley, and they'll work out where to eat, where to poop, who's the big animal and who's not. And they'll maintain these relationships with threat display escalation. No sooner do the animals work out their territory, but they spend a lot of time at the border slinging poo and insults at the other people in the other group. And of course, if you watch TV, you'll see, the one that dances the fanciest and throws poo the best gets to be animal of the day with rainbow head or pirate hat or whatever on TV. We get in a lot of trouble if we over-escalate our threat display or if we under-escalate our threat display. And the world is full of threat displays. For example, if you're driving down the road and you see a speed limit sign, oh, that's actually a threat display. And if you ignore that and you just keep right on driving, and then there's a man beside the road, and he's got the little radar gun, and you smile and wave at him, yeah, good, and that's a threat display. And then if he turns on his lights, yep, that's a threat display, and then he starts bringing his buddies, and more threat display. And then there's a roadblock. And so, you try to navigate that roadblock because that's kind of inconvenient. And sure enough, they'll shoot you. They'll shoot you for speeding because they will escalate their threat display. And, in fact, the escalation of threat display has almost become coded into law as to what is an appropriate degree of threat display to use for a particular situation. And so we get in a lot of trouble if we over-escalate our threat display. For example, if we're out in the field lounging around thinking about where the best food is and where the most fun is and where the tiger is, and some guy comes down the trail and he's all upset and he's throwing things around and yelling and screaming, and if he starts, we'll track him and where he's going, and we'll share that information with each other. And if he comes up to us, well, we're not going to tell him where the best food is. That would be our food, and because the quality of his mutuality is in doubt. So we've got antagonistic relationships where we're mean to somebody and they're mean back to us. And we've got mutual relationships where we're nice to somebody, we do something for somebody, they do something for us. And we've got traditions about what to expect, We go up to the hamburger man, we give him a certain price, what it says on the wall, and he gives us a hamburger. And if we go up to him and we give him half the money, no hamburger. And of course, if we give him the money and we get a half a hamburger, a used hamburger, oh no, we're going to have words. So we have this understanding of what to expect, this reciprocity in our relationship. So we have these traditions as to what to expect. And this appears to be something that's built into our mammalian heritage, because monkeys and lots of other animals will develop this sense of fair play. So this researcher with a good sense of humor was teaching a particular monkey how to do a special routine, a special trick, and then in exchange he gives him a special treat. He gives him blueberry. Well, his buddy over there, this other monkey, is watching this process, and so the researcher goes and teaches this next monkey how to do the same routine, and then gives him, instead of giving him blueberry, he gives him plain. You think the monkey was happy to get a treat? No, he threw not just the treat, but some other stuff at the researcher. And in fact, remembered the researcher for days and weeks afterwards. And the researchers learned that if they were going to do this type of research, they would have to wear masks and conceal their identity because the monkeys would recognize them clean across the the building, and they were pretty good with what they could throw. So they did these same experiments with dogs and with donkeys, and they found the same thing, that these animals have a sense of fair play, a sense of reciprocity, and they develop expectations. They even did this experiment with an elephant once. They only did it once because you can imagine what happened to them when the elephant got upset. Wonk. So
they're really good at throwing researchers.
Oh, wow. So yeah, that sense of reciprocity and the sense of fairness in our exchanges is something that's built into our mammalian heritage. So yeah, we oftentimes demonstrate those expectations with threat display, and a lot of it is encoded in very polite ways. And if we over-escalate our threat display, we get excluded from information. On the other hand, if we under-escalate, we have problems. You know, Beaver's mom wants to be the nice mommy, and Beaver's got the video games up too loud. Of course, there weren't any when Beaver was playing, but he's got the video games up too loud, and hubby's bringing the boss over for dinner, and so she's trying to get everything all arranged, and she looks and she's, boys, would you turn that down? And no, they don't even hear her. They're just still banging away at their video game, and finally, you know, she sees the stinky sneaker on the new couch, and she comes out and she loses it. And the boys, oh dear, you know, they turn it down, you know, and they stiffen up and whatnot. And then she bursts into tears, goes into her room, slams the door. The boys look at each other and they keep playing. And gradually they turn the sound back up. And what have they learned? Absolutely nothing, except that she does that sometimes. So under-escalating our threat display can cause problems because the other animals don't want to let us know that they're ripping us off, and they tiptoe on eggshells because they don't want to set us off by telling us the truth about the situation. So over-escalating, under-escalating causes problems. Well, some situations are not blood and bone. It's not life and death. And people might pretend to have conflict. And a lot of our sports, for example, are pretend conflict. Football is pretend combat. Basketball is a stylized, you're not supposed to actually run into each other form of combat. And a lot of our jokes and the stories we tell, a lot of the jokes that we share, we pretend to exclude somebody or to ridicule them, and then we include them, unless it's a bad joke. and when we're doing this pretend conflict, we use a special type of threat display. We use a modified threat display. So instead of a snarl, we smile. And instead of a bark of warning, we laugh, ha 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 ha. So smiling and laughter are modified threat displays, which indicate we're pretending to have conflict. And people can exchange all kinds of information about hierarchy and problems and opportunities while they're having a great time. So humans are territorial, and we patrol our physical territory, but unlike a lot of animals, we also have a social territory. We maintain relationships with more than just the people that we live with. And so to maintain those relationships, we'll go out on social patrols, and we'll engage in greeting rituals. And we'll say things like, "Hi, how's it going?" which translates to, "I'm your friend, are you my friend?" And hopefully we get a warm buzz. Yeah, I'm your friend. And then there's an exchange of information, and the information is about opportunities and problems and opportunities. You know, tiger's over there, best food is over here. And so, okay, great. And then we'll go on, we'll greet our other friends, hopefully get our warm buzzies and exchange information. And then we might greet somebody, and then we hear, "Oh yeah, everything is fine." And then we hear, problem. problem, 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 problem. Oh, okay, good luck with that, Eeyore. And then we shine them on, and that's why some of our greeting rituals are so short and almost superficial, because we don't want to get involved in that. And sometimes we run into somebody and it's opportunity, opportunity. Did you hear about this? Did you hear about it? Opportunity. And we kind of gravitate towards that for a little bit. And sometimes in these interactions, people will want to define what type of reciprocity works best in this group. And so they might talk about the problems that some other person or some other group is having. You know, those people eat their babies, which means don't eat my baby and I won't eat yours. And so this is problem talk, and people will often define their expectations in relationships through problem talk, which is not to be confused with the problem game. Now, you notice that who gets to know what tells you who's who in these social groups. And if somebody gets a lot of information, well, then they probably have a lot of say in what goes on in these different groups. And sometimes if somebody feels like they might be starting to slip, they might not be included, they might get anxious, and they might play the problem game. The instigator might say something like, "Have you heard about Joey?" They say, no, I haven't. "Oh, sorry, it's secret. I can't tell you." Which means betray somebody to me, tell me something I'm not supposed to know, and then I'll tell you about Joey. And before you know it, everybody's out there gathering information about Joey, and Joey shows up and he says, "Oh, hi guys." And all of the guilty guys duck and cover, "Oh, hi Joey," and act busy. And the instigator says, "Oh, hi Joey," and somehow gives off signals that other people should watch the show. And they run Joey through his paces. "So Joey, you went to the store, you went to the widow's house, you were there a long time." And if Joey plays his cards right, he says, "Yeah, went and got some donuts, helped the widow's kid with his homework, because that's what we do, we're good people." "Oh yeah, okay Joey, yeah, we knew that you were all right." And if Joey doesn't play his cards right, then it's like, "Joey, what are you doing? You're already married. What are you doing hanging out with that other woman?" In which case, then the quality of Joey's reciprocity and mutuality is in doubt. And then there might be sanctions placed on Joey, like, Joey's, bad Joey. And of course, if you're seen talking to Joey, well, you could be giving away some of our information, and so no, we'll withhold information from you. And now if it's a minor offense, Joey has to come up with a new joke, or maybe some donuts. And if it's a little more major, he might have to come up with a new rumor. And if it's a really serious offense, they might not talk to Joey for years, or they might take him out, hang him, put him in prison, whatever. So there you have it: territory, hierarchy, threat display escalation, signals of inclusion, signals of exclusion, problem talk, and then the problem game. And each one of the players has in the background all of these different desires and ideas cooking in their mind. And so I try to introduce people to this idea of social interaction so that they can plug in their cognitive skills instead of the good person, bad person thing that a lot of people get into.